So hi, I'm Mark McMahon. I wanted to share a passage from a book that I wrote and published in 2007 about something that happened in Argentina in the late 70s. This is the book. It's called Driving to the End of the World. I wrote it about a life-changing adventure that I took to the end of the world. And anyway, the story relates to something that happened last week here in the United States, and I hopefully it'll be brain dead obvious by the time I get finished with this little passage, short passage. If not, I'll tell you more about what happened just about a week ago here in the U.S. This is about when I was in Buenos Aires, Argentina. This is one of about 50 short chapters, and it's called Crying for Argentina. I had some time to wander the streets and read up on the history of Buenos Aires. Like any big city, it has its downside. Intertwined with its financial flounderings is some history that is much, much sadder. And the remnants of this chapter are very creepy. As I sit in a cafe, you can't help but wonder who could possibly be sitting on your right and conversely and perversely on your left. I'm referring to Argentina's dirty war of the late 70s. It was the ethnic cleansing of the reigning regime. It was political rather than ethnic, but you get the point. Between 20,000 and 30,000 people were disappeared. Many people were tortured. Many people were drugged and dumped from airplanes into the sea while they were still alive. Pregnant mothers were abducted and murdered after giving birth. The babies were then adopted by the perpetrators. Think about the consequences of an 18-year-old discovering his diabolical family history. Some of the architects of the cleansing were convicted, then later pardoned. All of the underlings who carried out the deadly details were never tried based on the fact that they were only following orders. To this day, the murderers walk the same streets of Buenos Aires as the families of their victims, perhaps on my right, perhaps on my left. Let's skip this part and we'll go to where the same subject continues here. I delve much deeper into the dirty war, only to be left with more questions than answers. Imagine living in Argentina at that time. A white Ford Falcon pulls up containing two guys in dark suits and dark glasses. The secret police hitmen. Someone was about to disappear. They would never be seen again. To this day, the victims are called Los Desaparecidos. Los Desaparecidos. The disappeareds. An estimated 30,000 people were tortured and murdered. How could the sophisticated, educated citizens of Argentina let this happen? How could those just following orders actually follow those orders? If you remove the distinctions of citizenship and national borders, it's not that different than what's happening now in Guantanamo Bay. Remember, this was published in 2007. Citizens of other nations are being disappeared indefinitely without trial, kept 90 miles offshore. Their rights under the Geneva Convention, not to mention basic civil and human rights, are being trampled. At first, I thought the comparison was a stretch, but the more I learned, the more valid it seemed. The Argentine perspective on the U.S. politics was striking. The U.S. is perceived as a bully big brother who may be capable of loving, but also able to beat the crap out of you. To them, becoming crapless seemed like the more likely scenario. President Bush is viewed in their mainstream media as a religious nutjob. I spoke to educated people who compared Bush to Hitler without a hint of sarcasm. From outside the U.S., a preemptive attack does not look much different than terrorism. The perspective I gained from being outside of the country for so long opened up my eyes and gave me a newfound political awareness. I hate to think about how oblivious I was before I started my journey Yet I value my country more than I ever did, in spite of the troubles I now perceive.